Hello and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani and I hope you all are doing good, dear friends. Today is 30th March and let's see what we have got in the Hindu analysis. Now, observe the picture. This is you and me, isn't it? We all are breathing. It's brilliant that we are breathing. It's brilliant that we are alive. And if we understand this thing, that it's basically, you can say, it's outstanding that we are alive, because there are many people out there in the world who are not alive as we are speaking now. There are many people who have not seen the sunshine this morning, and if we consider this thing, then we realize that life is precious as well as it is limited. So let's make the most out of it, and once we understand this thing, I believe that we can make our day or convert our day into a super productive day as well as a happy day. I hope things are clear to you now. Now let's move on. Let's see what we have got on our table. We have many articles, as you can see on your screen. This one is about testing exams, CBSE exam paper leaks and things like that. This article, this editorial in fact, is providing a very it's asking very one of the very basic question, right, pertaining to our examination. Very interesting point of view here. Then you have this article on North Korea and USA and stakeholders. We are going to analyze it. This one is about India and Pakistan. In recent past, we have seen many diplomatic problems issuing this note verbal and other things. And then you have this article on transgenders, the discrimination the transgender community and the people face in our country. We will analyze this 4 items. These 2 items, I will leave it on you guys to as your self-study work. This one is pure political article. If you want to go through it, then it's up to you. If you have extra time, then yes, go through it, or else you can drop them. There is no harm in dropping these 2 items. Now, this is my Facebook page here. If you want to download the PDF of this lecture, then this is the link here, right, on my Facebook page. I will share a link from where you can download this PDF. Apart from that, we have got our Telegram channel as well. I will share a PDF of this lecture on our Telegram channel too. Now, dear friends, do you know that at present, as we are speaking now, right, you are getting what, 50% discount on our pen drive and tablet courses. The only thing is that tomorrow is the last date, for 31st is the last date for you to get this 50% discount on our pen drive and tablet courses and other items. So make sure you make the most out of it. If you want to know more about it, just check out StudyIQ.com, or you can give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. Now let's start with this first editorial, that is on examination. Now we have seen this leak. It was in news yesterday, and annual examination question papers are leaked, and this is going to create a big problem as far as image of CBSE is concerned, right? It is going to take a big toll. And 2 papers, one is of math and the other one is of economics. These 2 papers are, one is from 12th standard and 10th standard. Now anyways, it's not important, it's not that important that exactly which paper, any paper leak is going to be harmful, isn't it? We also talked about this thing. I told you, remember, that it is about demand and supply. There is a demand of this type of things. There are people, or particularly students. I don't think there would be many parents who would give money for their kids to buy these papers, but many a times you find when these kids they come in, when they have their friends are not right, you find all this sort of things. We are talking about students of 10th and 12th examination, right? So we are talking about kids basically. Apart from that, a standard operating procedure is breached as well. You know, you have this secret you have a team, a top team, they will keep everything, all these questions and everything will be under top secret, and then you have these packages, the sealed packages under which you will transport your papers and things like that. And this thing, I believe, is a bit outdated, because we have to think about other things as well. Now today we have computers and other things. Now it becomes a bit practically, you will argue that it's impossible, you can say, not impossible, but very difficult for us to conduct online examination or share this paper, we can do this thing as well, isn't it? That all the principals of different schools, they can get email at one time, and then you can have this printing thing can be done there. So there are many ways through which we can tackle this sort of things. Of course, we have experts, they will think about it, but our motive here is not just to limit ourselves with this particular leak. We have to ask some subtle questions, some important questions. And the main question here is that, is a high stakes test the best option? We have been, in our society or in our education system, 10th and 12th are two big, you can say, milestones in anyone's life. I'm sure we all have gone through it, and we have faced the same stress, right? Exam stress, because from very early age we are being told this thing that 10th and 12th are going to be two big things. If you crack this thing, then you will be altogether different person. And there are so many mythical stories associated with this 10th and 12th examination. Now, the main job of any exam is to ensure that a student's aptitude and a student's learning is growing, basically is expanding. But when we have these two exams only, or when we are making this 10th and 12th too big or larger than life, we are creating too much stress in a student's mind. This is taking a toll as well. Many times we see this is a very common thing, right? Suicides are a very common thing. The other thing is that Prime Minister talked about this thing when he was expressing his view on examination. He said that 10th and 12th are not just a big exams for a student. It is a big exam for the whole family. You might have heard about this thing that many times parents, they will block this television connection for a couple of months because exam is there, and other things, your entertainment quota will be reduced many times to nil. You cannot go out and play sports, and we have different types of restrictions when a kid is facing 10th or 12th board examination. Now, the thing is, this is creating problem. If you think from this angle, then we find that when we are giving too much emphasis on this thing, right, this is becoming a big problem. And then we find this whole market in which there are people who are seeking this type of leaked papers, and then there are suppliers as well. And because of this social media, it becomes very difficult as well to catch a person, because imagine, of course, someone in charge of this paper, it is very easy to understand this thing, that he or she might have leaked this paper, but it would be very difficult to find the whole chain, because you have WhatsApp and other social networking application and other sites and things, and we know it very well. A couple of days ago we were talking about this IT rules that we have. They are a bit outdated, isn't it? So, and even today our authorities, we don't have any mechanism to basically audit our social networking sites or this real-time messaging applications and things like that. So it will become very difficult. And now, of course, before we introduce this multi-level exams, or you can say this multiple assessments, so every year you may have couple of exams, so this whole hype of 10th and 12th will go away. But until this system comes in, first of all, the main thing is that we have to restore, the CBSE has to restore people's faith in its working. The other thing is that we find this sort of attitude as well. CBSE was in denial mode. It said that nothing like this has happened at all, but later on it accepted this thing that yes, two papers are leaked. And it reminds us this HRD minister Smriti Irani, when she was minister, HRD minister in Lok Sabha, she was asked about this secure operation, or you can say this standard operating SOP, standard operating procedure of this CBSE and 10th and 12th examination and things like that. She said that this process, this SOP, or the way things are being done by CBSE as far as exams are concerned, nothing will happen. It means nothing wrong can take place, no one can cheat anything and things like this. Was this attitude. So this indicates as well that we are a bit naive. We have still not understood, you can say this, the importance of updating ourselves as far as this type of distribution of papers and examination is concerned. With this, let's move on to another editorial, very important one in terms of geopolitics, and you have a special video lecture available for you guys if you want to know more about this upcoming meeting that is going to take place between South Korea and North Korea, and a meeting that is going to take place between USA and North Korea. Right, these are two big events in our calendar. In forthcoming future, we will find in April 27th April, South Korean Prime Minister will meet North Korea's Kim Jong-un, and hopefully in May we will find Mr. Trump will meet North Korean leader Kim Jong. So these are the two big events, and these two events will determine our future as well, because there are high chances. There were, it was a big thing last year in 2017. Everyone was predicting that there will be a nuclear war between USA and North Korea, but thank God we are basically talking about a meeting that is going to take place. There were absolutely no communication channel between USA and North Korea, but at least something good is taking place at present. So if you want to know more about it in detail, like what are the steps that USA should take, what are the things that USA should keep in its mind when it is dealing with this North Korea, then I will recommend you guys to check that video out. Now anyways, let's come back to this one. Now, timing of North Korean leader, basically he had a meeting with this Xi Jinping in China. He went there in China. He went there in a very secure train to China, and this is his first foreign trip. Can you imagine that? He took over this North Korea in 2011 after his dad who passed away, and after that basically this Kim family is running this North Korean country since ages, and he took over back in 2011. As far as I know, he has never met any leader, or he has never been out since 2011, right? This is his first foreign trip, so you can understand the amount of isolation. But it was very aggressive in its stand, this North Korean country. And now when he met Xi Jinping, this Kim Jong-un said that he is serious about this thing. He is committed. When he is saying that denuclearization of this peninsula, North Korea, or this Korean peninsula, he is saying that he is very serious about this thing. And now we will analyze why he is serious, or what are the things that pushed him to this corner, that he has agreed to have a chat with USA. But first of all, let's go through some basic details or geographical details of this area here. You can see North Korea. This is South Korea here. They have a border between them. I'll leave other details for you guys. I'll just give you some important background theory here. You can see here China is sharing a border with North Korea. Now China is of course not happy. Any country will be very sad if you have a situation next door like a nuclear war. Possibility of nuclear war is something that is not welcomed by any country. So China was very much afraid as well, if I can use this term. It was not at all happy about this North Korea's proliferation of nuclear weapons. It was not happy about this crisis situation, or you can say this situation of nuclear war, possibility of nuclear war in its neighborhood. Just in case if anything like this, God forbid, but if this North Korea is in a state of war with USA, then you can imagine that there will be a refugee crisis here, and China does not want anything like this taking place in its neighborhood. The other thing is that China is under immense pressure from USA. It is under immense pressure from Japan as well. Japan is a country that is again an arch rival of North Korea. North Korea is absolutely not happy with Japan. It is arch rival of South Korea, and it hates USA as well. So this is its overall scenario, overall scenario of this Korean peninsula. Now, as I told you, China was not happy with North Korea's nuclear test, and the pressure was growing from United Nations. There are many countries who have said China, because China was the only country, right? China is basically, it was the biggest, or in fact it is the biggest trading partner of North Korea. And because of this thing, North Korea was able to keep its basically head out of water, but now United Nations sanctions are supported by Beijing. It has cut down its export of coal and North Korean exports of coal. China used to trade with this North Korea, and now its exports like coal, seafood and other items to China, right? China has basically reduced it, or it has tightened it. It has placed some caps on this thing, on this imports coming from North Korea, and because of this thing, North Korea is totally isolated, right? It is said that in October 2018 they will run out of this hard cash, hard currency. They will run out of this hard currency, and if you don't know, then let me tell you that hard currency is one of the most important thing for your international trade as well. Your currency, your liquidity is very important for your international trade and other things. So yeah, Kim Jong-un is facing serious pressure from his top players. You know, like in every dictator regime, you will find this thing, that you will have a couple of businessmen and important businessmen, rich people who are sucking away all these natural resources from your country, because they are looking after you and you are looking after them and things like that. So this nexus between Kim family or Kim Jong and some important players. Now important players, their assets are freezed, their businesses are not doing that good because of this sanctions, and this is basically they are creating pressure on Kim, and Kim has to take a stand. So he was in a very tight corner. He was basically cornered by all these sanctions and other things. One thing that we have to admire about Mr. Trump is that after means the day since he is in White House, from then he has ensured that this North Korea is behaving means they did everything they can, right? North Korea means USA has tried everything. They did some exercises as well, naval and other military exercise to give out. They have basically said to North Korea, you can say this thing, that USA is very serious. It's not just about rhetoric. When USA is saying that they can face this fire and fury and things like that, then it is serious, and Kim Jong knows it very well as well. Now China is a very important player here, because China has played a very important role back in history as well. In 2000 this Kim Jong's father visited China, and then they had a meeting between, at that point of time, between South Korea and North Korea shortly before that. And in 2003 China launched this 6-party talks, and at present, if you ask me, then I will say that it is for Kim, it is about his survival of his regime, and for Xi, it is about peace in neighborhood. And this is what we call convergence of interest, and this is the reason why we see this, both countries are having a word with each other. But still there is a big uncertainty, because we have Mr. Trump in the house, isn't it? He is a stakeholder here, and recently he has appointed 2 officials. They are having this hawkish or anti-North Korea view. The world, even we don't know what is going to take place, right? It is something that future will tell us. We don't know whether just in case if this meeting fails between this Trump and Kim, then what will be the next step of USA? We don't know. We have to wait. But let's hope that peace prevails. Let's hope that this North Korea or this Korean peninsula is denuclearized. It is going to be better for the whole world. Now moving on to this India, Pakistan, 2 arch rival again. Nuclear powers, we know the problems and everything that is going on, but since 19th of this month, so we are talking about what, 10 days, in last 10 days basically we had just one ceasefire sort of incident, but if we go back, then we find that consistently there was this ceasefire violation between both these countries. But things are a bit better now, and it indicates that good sense has prevailed on both sides. Now we also saw this diplomatic row, isn't it? This harassment and issuing of this note verbal and other things. Diplomatic personnels were harassed. Now I'm sure you are aware about this thing, that diplomatic personnels are protected under 1961 Vienna Convention. You cannot harass any diplomatic or any diplomat, right, working in or a host country, it is the responsibility of the host country to ensure that foreign diplomats are protected, they feel safe, and they can carry on their work without any fear. Now, two issues were there between Pakistan and India. One was this construction issue. India was constructing these houses for our diplomats, and then we saw this Pakistani people, right? When I say people, I mean to say this local people as well as these officers or this administration. They stepped in and they created problem, and this construction was bit hold. They are complaining that India is charging too much money when club membership is concerned. In Delhi, you have these private clubs, and Pakistan is saying that we will not allow your diplomats to join the clubs in our country because over your side, in your side, you are charging too much money. So government has said that these clubs are not government clubs, they are private clubs, so government cannot dictate these clubs to reduce or increase their fees. So this is something, these are two main things, but these are just things that we see in the front. And the back side, you have many other things going on. Now, this is not the first time we are saying this thing, and this is not a new thing as well, as far as India and Pakistan, these two countries are concerned. And the good thing, if we have some good experiences as well. If you are not aware, then let me tell you that it was in 1990, right, back in 1990, early 1990, when we saw this era is considered as an initial year or initial years of this insurgency in Kashmir. At that point of time, things were very bad between India and Pakistan. It was very, very bad, and later on, this foreign secretaries from both sides, they decided that they will have a chat together. They communicated with each other, and finally steps were taken by both the sides. We trained our local authorities about how you should deal with diplomats. We came out with this Urdu Hindi do's and don'ts. We came out with this Hindi version of do's and don'ts and things like that. So this local people or this administration, they know exactly what to do and what not to do as when these diplomats are concerned. So these were the steps taken during this rough phase. So there are means if we have this sort of background, then every possibility is open that we can sort out things going on between us at present as well. Now, one more thing that we need to change is that first of all we have to change this words that we say. You know, both the countries they are on same page. They say that we are not indulging in this espionage or spy activity in each other's countries. We know it very well. This is a big lie, right? And there is nothing wrong with it as well. Everyone is knowing about this thing, and every single country in the world, right, they engage in this espionage activities and things like that. Of course, it is a part and parcel of your, or for ensuring that your interest, your country's interests are upheld. Now, this espionage people or this spies, when they are caught, they are basically tortured, they are killed as well. And we have some good examples of USA and Russia. During their Cold War phase as well, they used to exchange spies. Earlier on, they used to torture and waterboard, and they used to do all this sort of things with each other. But later on, they just used to catch the spy. They used to take out all the information without any sort of torture. Because on the other hand, right, if you are having hold on this Russian spy, then Russia would be having a couple of your spies as well. So the way you treat their spies, tit for tat, basically works here in this spy world. So in 2010 as well, they did this exchange. They exchanged their own spies, and we can do the same thing. If these two countries, Russia and USA, right, their problems are bigger than our problem, then if they can work together, then we are same culture. We can also find out some ways through which we can sort out problems between us. And the most important thing is communication. At present, we are getting these signals that General Bajwa, who is the chief of army in Pakistan, you know it very well that a chief of army is the main man, the person who is having lots and lots of powers. He has indicated that he is ready to normalize relationship with India, and this is an opportunity for us as well to grab it and sort out the problems that we find or that we have with each other. And we have to boost this communication channels between us. We have to sort out, we have to have a chat at all different levels, right? NSA level meetings are taking place. This is a good thing, but results are not visible. Then we have the DGMO meetings are literally on chokehold. We need to resume it. Foreign secretaries can have a chat, and then we can have government to government contacts as well. So these are the things that we can do, and of course this hyper nationalism and grandstanding will not help both of us. Moving on to another item, this is about tackling prejudice. This symbol is a symbol of transgender community. Now, first of all, very basic thing, they are human beings as well. If we go back in the history of our country, then we find this. There are many examples. We have seen transgender being, or they have worked as a commander, successful commander of big and strong army. We have seen them as great administrator, as outstanding poets. So in terms of arts, administration, education, and other fields, right, just like every other person, they are talented, they are gifted as well, they are unique as well in their own way. And this situation of transgender in our country, you know, this discrimination that they face, so I don't have to go into this details. I don't have to present some practical examples here. We have enough practical example here. You have this Shanavi, as he passed this written examination of for cabin crew, but she was not offered job because she is trans woman. Then you have this K Prithika Yashini. She is a trans woman, and she faced so many problems during her job with as a sub-inspector of police. Then you have other examples as well. Now, it was Supreme Court that took a stand in favor of this transgender community. I remember it was somewhere around back in 2008, somewhere around this time, 2008 or 2009. Can't remember the exact year, but anyways, the main thing is that it was Election Commission who said that you can have this option of having this male, female, or other sex in your election card. I think it was 2009. But anyways, now we have this option right in Aadhaar card as well, if I'm not making a mistake here, and that's how it should be, right? It was under this colonial period. After that, we are seeing this situation of this transgender community. But apart from that, generally speaking, they were respected in our society. But at present, there is a big stereotype and prejudice going on in our society, and we need to change this thing. We are coming out with new laws, of course, laws like this one, this Transgender Persons Protection to Rights Bill 2016. This is a good law as well, and it is talking about this offense as well. If someone is harassing someone as transgender person or trans woman or trans man, then that person can be jailed for minimum 6 months period of time. This is a good thing. This is a first step, right? But there are many things that we have to do, and sensitizing our community or people is going to be very important. Without people's participation, without understanding this uniqueness in every individual, sex is not the only identity through which you can segregate, or you can say segment people, right? It is whatever the reason is, right? But everyone is unique, and everyone has full right under our law and constitution to live the life they want to live. So this is an enabling environment, and I'm not just saying it. This is something that I truly believe in as well. Moving on to important news, Russia is going to expel 150 diplomats. See, this tit for tat thing has started, and this is not going to be beneficial for globalization. This is not going to be in favor of one world and peaceful world. Tamil Nadu is going to file this contempt plea on Kaveri because 29th March was the deadline for the center to come out with a framework, but it has not. So the fresh problems on this Kaveri scheme. Another item, stay on trial will be valid only for 6 months. A very important judgment of Supreme Court that criminal corruption cases, even civil cases, right? If there is any stay, then that stay can last for only 6 months. Only if you have some exceptional reasons, then you can have some, but you have to explain your exceptional reasons. So big thing. Now big news again, that BJP has alleged that Kapil Sibal acquired land from a money launderer for a throwaway price. This is going to be a big thing in near future. Japan and India, we had a meeting with each other. Sushma Swaraj met counterpart, and we exchanged this loan agreements and other things. We talked about terrorism and other things as well. A big decision taken by cabinet on education. We have reformed all these different schemes that we have, Shiksha Abhiyan, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha and other things, teachers training. All these different schemes will be subsumed under one. From class 1 to class 12 will be covered. After post 12th, you will have this loan and other support for your higher education, and money allocation has been increased as well. 20% increase, 75,000 crore rupees for education for 2 years. So this is a big step, and a good step as well. Let's hope that this thing is implemented properly. Then you have this Bharatmala to hit 25 toll roads, and GSET 6A has been launched. The Prime Minister has congratulated ISRO, and then you have some controversy as well associated with GSET 6A and 6.2. So please help yourself with it, and technical details, right? You'll find all these things in your self-studies when you go through this full article. This is a picture here, again a funny one. This is well of the Parliament, and then you can see here, all is well, all is well. So very funny. You can pass me your opinion on this thing. What do you make of this picture? And these are your answers here. Of course, I'm sure you will find out this thing that blue is for blue, red is for red, and red is for red, and things like that. And again, I have a match, the following type of match: list 1 with list 2, a question for you, and a normal question, a normal MCQ. And that's everything that we have got in today's discussion. I will see you all soon. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this lecture with your friends as well. Please, please, please do share it. And if you have learned something out of it, then please don't forget to give us your like. Your like definitely motivates me to work and to deliver as good quality material as possible by me, and this pushes me as well. And I do welcome all your opinions as well. Thank you very much for your opinion too. So thank you very much, and I will try to fulfill your requests, right? I will try my level best to make sure that I improve on regular basis, and I genuinely do try every day as well. It's a challenging thing, and I do take it very positively. Thank you again, and I will see you all soon. Jai Hind.